One of the questions that we get asked from founders is, how does Capital HQ help them save time? We say to founders that they can save up to 80% of the amount of time that they would normally spend in the capital raising utilizing Capital HQ. And the simple reason is we built into the software simple workflows that can make a difference. So for example, I found that founders spend too much time creating announcements, but they go and do a whole bunch of stuff on LinkedIn or they put stuff on their website. So we made it easy for them to just copy and paste it into Capital HQ, into their news feed, which then gets distributed out to their investors as a simple thing. The other part is when you're raising money, you realize that you're answering the exact same question over and over again. So I remember hitting this tipping point one time where I kept on getting asked this same question. That's what was my trigger to build into the software a frequently asked question module. Now it's become my intelligence as far as what someone's most interested in my company when they're having a look at it. So, simple things like that, whether it be a news feed, whether it be being able to do their investor relations through the platform, whether it be, being able to do their frequently asked questions. The important part is that anytime a new investor goes in, they can go and have a look at that sort of track record. And if someone's been building their room over a period of 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, they can see the execution milestones in that time. And I found that rather than sort of asking me 5 to 6 hours worth of questions, they're spending that time with my room, getting a feel for how we've been executing as a business and the journey of the business and so forth. And the other simple part is we made space for a video to go in that. One of our clients actually said it to me best. He goes, I found that when people would ask me for information, effectively they were just looking at a deck. What the Capital HQ software allowed them to do is it allowed them to tell their story, right? And allowed them to engage with the story. And to me, that's probably the better way than I could have explained it. So to me, I think that's what makes the biggest difference in how it can save founders time, is that let your deal room tell your story 24/7 when your investor is not speaking to you, because ultimately sometimes we feel like we're only moving it forward if we're in front of an investor speaking to them. But the reality is they could be looking at your deal room when their kids are asleep or it's 10 o'clock at night, but ultimately your deal room is working for you 24/7. Once you set it up right and you do those simple things like copying and pasting announcements, you set up your frequently asked questions, make sure it's up to date, etc. I said, then you've got an asset that's working for you over and over again, not just for 2 to 3 months when you think you're going to be raising money, but for 2 to 3 years when people can follow you for that amount of time before they invest into you.